Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story from a female employee of a car dealership. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. You don't want a woman working on your car? That's fine, but you're going to be waiting a long time. Many years ago, I worked at a car dealership. The attached service garage was small, and I was the only licensed mechanic. I would occasionally have issues with male customers. They would second-guess my diagnosis, watch me while I worked on their cars from the bay door, double-check my work in the parking lot, etc. I didn't deal with customers directly and would often get my apprentice to pull cars in and out of the shop for me. This morning in particular, we were busy. The lot jockey and apprentice were occupied helping wash cars for delivery and driving to a customer's house. The service advisor left a work order and keys at the parts counter, and I went out the front through service to get the car. It was in for a service campaign, which was an update done with a scan tool. It takes about 10 minutes. The customer was planning on waiting and was sitting in service. When he saw me with his keys in my hand, he immediately stood up, alarmed. I was hustling, so I walked right by him and out the door. I missed the following conversation, according to the service advisor, also female. Customer: Who's that chick? Is she going to be working on my car? I don't want her working on my car. Advisor: The other tech is out at the moment, so it's going to be quite a wait until someone else can look at your car. Customer: That's fine. I'll wait for a guy. I don't want that chick touching my car. A, politely: Understood. The advisor comes to let me know, and I pull the car out and put the work order and keys back on the counter. Nonplussed. Half an hour passes, the apprentice is still away, and I'm happily working on something else, bringing other cars in and out. The customer's now watching each and every person who comes through the door. The high school co-op student comes in to get something signed. The customer's keys are still sitting on the desk. It's been about an hour now. Customer: Hey, why hasn't my car gone in yet? Can you get this guy to do it? A: No, sorry, he's just a co-op student, so he's not allowed to drive cars due to liability and insurance concerns. Customer: Just get someone else to bring the car in and he can do the work. This is supposed to take 10 minutes. A: Sorry, sir, he's just a high school student doing his co-op. He's not approved to perform warranty work. Only licensed techs and apprentices can do the recall. The car jockey returns, the advisor hands the car jockey a different set of keys, and he brings yet another car into the shop for me. The customer's becoming incensed. I've been sitting here over an hour, and I've watched 5 cars go in before mine. My appointment was for 8 a.m. This is getting ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. At this point, he says that he literally doesn't care who does the recall, but that it has to be a guy. The service advisor starts listing off the names of the men who work in the dealership, then saying, why can't they perform the recall? Well, there's Harmon, but he's just the car jockey. He doesn't know how to work on cars. Then there's Jeet, but he's about 17. I wouldn't want him doing the recall, personally. I guess we could ask Mike, but Mike's the parts guy. He doesn't know how to use the scan tool. The detailers are men, but they know nothing about cars. The customer's fuming at this point and demands to talk to the service manager. The manager comes out of his office and guides the customer into the garage. He's pretty old school, lights up a cigarette standing at the end of my bay and points at me. That's my best technician. Those guys take orders from her. You can either wait for her to finish what she's working on and then you can ask if she's willing to do your work, or you can take your car somewhere else. The guy was pretty shook up at this point and he took his car and left, 2 hours after he first arrived. I don't think we ever saw him again, which was not much of a loss, all things considered. That manager in particular always stuck up for me and took my side. The service advisor has this very deadpan sense of humor. She knew full well that it'd be easily an hour before the apprentice would return from his errand and that no one else could do the recall. This was not the first sexist we'd encountered. And our next story. Roll coal on me and you'll be rolling your stupid dirty truck home on a trailer. This happened 3 or 4 years ago in the small town where I was going to school. A quiet little place out in the boonies where the local pastimes are trucks, hunting, trucks, fishing, hunting, and trucks. The college was a branch campus specializing in a strange mishmash of programs more or less related to the construction industry. On one end were the environmental programs, where I spent my time, and on the other were the heavy equipment operators. Needless to say, there were some conflicting ideologies. Half the campus hugged trees, while the other half bulldozed them. As with the bigger schools, there was a Facebook page for our little campus where people would submit memes, photos, and rude stories about campus life, and the comments on these posts were as bipolar as the campus culture. Among the regular contributors was a 19-year-old D-bag with a jacked-up early 90s diesel Dodge Ram who took every possible opportunity to make fun of us Prius drivers in the environmental programs. These crap posts usually ended with a chorus of "Roll coal, bro" from his other truck-driving friends. Now, for those not in the know, rolling coal is a uniquely Neanderthalish practice. Essentially, you tune your diesel engine to run extremely rich so that when you put the pedal to the floor, it pours big clouds of black smoke into the sky. The effect is complete when your cloud of exhaust washes over one or more hapless pedestrians, leaving them choking on it and cursing your name. Yes, people actually do this for fun. Everyone on campus knew who the idiot with the Dodge was. Chances were very good if you spent any amount of time there, he'd roll coal on you at some point. Other trucks were known to do it occasionally, but no one seemed to get the same kind of sadistic glee out of it that he did, or had his truck tuned quite so rich. Now, one day my friends and I were heading out to the field to do a group project. As we were making our way across campus on a beautiful sunny afternoon, who should appear behind us but Dodge Bag? I heard him approaching and knew instantly what was coming. Sure enough, I turned around just as he stomped on the accelerator, spewing a huge cloud of black soot all over my entire class. A chorus of FUs and middle fingers followed, but he just tore away from us and headed down to the heavy equipment parking lot, amused with himself and probably planning some sort of snide remark on social media. Frustrated, but not really knowing what to do, I moved on. Until a couple days later, when fortune dropped the perfect revenge into my lap. Our class received a visit from some environmental enforcement officers, i.e. the folks who go around making sure that you're not dumping your sewage into the storm sewers or fishing without a license. There were only a handful of these guys around due to the generally tiny amount of money that governments commit to environmental enforcement, and we happened to be the lucky recipients of an hour of their time. I listened to them talk with a growing feeling of giddy, childish glee, and as soon as they finished and asked if we had any questions, I put up my hand. "Yes," I said, "I was wondering if you also enforce automobile emissions regulations." "Yes, we do. It's not a big part of our job because it's so hard to catch them in the act, but we have the power to ask someone to start their vehicle for us and to levy fines and revoke licenses if we find they're in violation." Sensing what I was up to, my friend had already pulled up Facebook on her phone and located D-Bag's profile. Conveniently, his profile picture was a shot of his truck spewing black smoke into the air. I quickly summarized the situation for the enforcement officers, complete with visual evidence of the act, and with serious faces, they promised us they would visit the heavy equipment building shortly. Social media was eerily quiet for the next couple of hours, but when I got home that night, sure enough, Dodge Bag had posted an enraged message to the Facebook group full of bluster and bravado against the people who'd sent the enforcement officers after him. Through the grapevine, we eventually found out what happened. The officers had gone directly to his classroom and asked the entire class to step outside, where one by one they had to start their trucks and hold the accelerators to the floor for a couple of seconds. A handful of them ended up with fines. Dodge Bag, being the worst offender of the group, received a fine and also had his license plates confiscated. He had to come back to school later that day with a trailer to bring his truck home. My friend and I spent weeks retelling this story with judicious glee, and due to the infamy of Dodge Bag, I doubt there was anyone on campus who didn't know him. We never failed to attract an interested group of listeners. And our last story. I'm giving you useless information? Okay, enjoy your green hair. I used to sell pool and hot tub chemicals. A part of the job is testing customers' pool and hot tub water to see what chemicals they need. If you don't take care of your pool or check it often, you need a lot of chemicals to fix the mess you've made, particularly if you use chlorine pucks. They generally have such a low pH level that it burns away at your heater coil and causes you to have copper in your water. Well, a couple years ago, a customer came up to me to test their pool. It was a complete mess and it had a bunch of copper in it. This isn't the exact conversation because it was a while ago, but these were the main points. Me. Yeah, the main issue is your pH is so low it's making your chlorine less effective, and you have copper in your water. Customer, yeah, just give me the stuff I need to fix it. I go and grab all the chemicals he needs and put it on the counter. Customer, how much is all this going to cost? Me, around $250. Customer, I'm not paying that much. Is all this really necessary? Me, yes, you won't be able to hold chlorine and you'll need to get the copper out. If you oxidize copper with a shock, it's going to stain parts of your pool and can even tint your hair green if you've recently dyed your hair blonde. Customer, my daughter's having a pool party next weekend and I just want the pool to have chlorine for then. Me, yes, and you need all of this to make sure you're good to go. Customer, can you just put everything away and only give me the chlorine? Me, fine. I'm not going to argue. I don't work on commission. Fast forward a couple days and the customer's wife came in. It was subtle, but you could tell her hair had a funny tint to it. She asked for all the chemicals that I recommended to her husband, and she paid with zero hesitation. The husband never came in ever again, and his wife took care of the pool from that moment forward. The next time the wife came in, it looked like her hair had been dyed the original blonde color she used to have. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.